Picture Las Vegas in the 1990s. It's a city buzzing with noise, money, and champions larger than life. In the world of professional pool, American titans like Earl the Pearl Strickland ruled the felt with an iron fist and a red-hot temper. Then, in 1994, a quiet, unassuming man from the Philippines stepped into the neon glow. They called him Bata, the Kid. He didn't have the swagger. He didn't have the trash talk. All he had was a cue stick and a secret, a kind of magic that American pool had never seen. This is the story of how Efren Reyes didn't just win a few tournaments. He silenced the doubters and changed the game forever. Before the magician arrived, the Kingdom of Nineball had its undisputed kings. The 90s American pool scene was a pure spectacle of confidence, aggression, and unbelievable talent. Las Vegas was its grand stage, the perfect backdrop for the game's most theatrical and volatile personalities. Tournament halls were electric, a place where hustlers became heroes and legends were made under bright, unforgiving lights. At the top of that mountain sat Earl the Pearl Strickland, a phenomenal talent with a cue and a temperament as explosive as his break shot. Strickland was the face of American pool. He was a multi-time world champion and a showman who could psych out opponents before a single ball was struck. His style was a lot like Vegas itself, bold, powerful, and relentlessly aggressive. He, along with other American giants like the ice-cold Johnny Archer and the deadly Mike Siegel, were the gatekeepers of the sport. They were the establishment, the old guard. They expected to be challenged, sure, but they never, ever expected to be overthrown. The game had a rhythm they knew, a language they all spoke. It was about power, precision, and mind games, but a new dialect was about to be introduced and nobody had a translator. Thousands of miles from the glitz of Vegas, in the loud and crowded pool halls of the Philippines, a different kind of master was sharpening his skills. Efren Reyes, known to everyone as Bata, was already a living legend in his home country. He didn't learn the game in quiet, pristine tournament rooms. He learned it playing money games, where every single shot could make or break you. His style wasn't from a textbook. It was sculpted by pressure, creativity, and an intuition that felt almost supernatural. When he finally arrived in the United States, he was more myth than man. Stories traveled ahead of him, tales of impossible shots, and a mind that saw angles no one else could. Then, in 1994, the myth became real. At the US Open 9-Ball Championship in Chesapeake, Virginia, Reyes did the unthinkable. He defeated Nick Varner in the finals to become the first ever non-American to win the prestigious title. To the American pros, he was no longer just a curiosity. He was a serious threat. The win sent shockwaves through the sport. Some tried to write it off as a fluke, a lucky run. They had no idea the magician was just warming up. He was coming for the crown, and the next time, no one would dare call it luck. By the time the 1995 Sands Regency Open in Reno rolled around, Efren Reyes wasn't an unknown anymore. He was the US Open champ, and he had a target on his back. The American Titans were waiting. They'd had a year to study his game, to try and figure out the puzzle he presented. Leading the charge was Earl Strickland, the king who saw this quiet invader as a direct threat to his throne. The 1995 tournament felt destined to be a collision course, a battle for the very soul of the game. Strickland was in his prime, a pure force of nature at the table, and he blitzed through his side of the bracket with his usual fire. Reyes, meanwhile, navigated his own path with a calm, almost unnerving focus. His face was a placid mask, betraying zero emotion, whether he'd just made a brilliant shot or was stuck in a tough spot. The contrast couldn't be more stark, the Pearl's fiery intensity versus the magician's tranquil genius. It was the rivalry the sport was begging for, and inevitably, they met in the finals. This was the match everyone wanted to see. The air in the arena was thick with tension. This wasn't just for a trophy, it was a referendum. Was Reyes a flash in the pan, or was he the new king? Could Strickland's raw power crush Reyes's otherworldly creativity? For hours they went to war in one of the greatest matches the sport had ever seen, trading racks and pushing each other to the absolute edge. The match reached its absolute boiling point. The format was a race to 13. The score was now tied, 12 games to 12. It all came down to a single final game. Hill, one rack for the title, for the glory, for history. The pressure in that room was so thick you could feel it. In that final deciding rack, Strickland broke but came up empty. It was Efren's chance. He stepped to the table to run out the balls and seal the victory. He coolly pocketed ball after ball until he sank the 4-ball and found himself in an impossible position. His target, the 5-ball, was on one side of the table. The cue ball was on the other, hopelessly trapped behind the 7-ball. He was snookered, perfectly. There was no direct shot, no easy way out. To the commentators, the audience, and especially to Earl Strickland, it looked like the magician had finally run out of tricks. The standard play was a simple defensive tap, just to leave Strickland in an equally bad spot. But Efren Reyes was not a standard player. He walked around the table, studying the angles, his mind operating on a different plane of reality. The crowd held its breath, and then, he went for it. He struck the cue ball with incredible precision and spin, sending it flying to the side rail. It connected, then shot across to the opposite rail, then deflected back at a sharp, impossible angle in a perfect Z pattern. Time seemed to slow down as the cue ball defied physics, threaded a needle between other balls and clipped the very edge of the 5-ball, sending it cleanly into the corner pocket. The entire arena gasped, then exploded in a roar of pure disbelief and applause. It was a shot that shouldn't exist. A miracle. Even Earl Strickland, his fierce rival, could only look on, shake his head, and start clapping for the man who had just done the impossible. He knew, just like everyone else, that he'd just witnessed history. Reyes, with his signature composure, calmly walked to the table, cleaned up the last few balls, and captured the championship. The magician hadn't just won, he'd performed his greatest trick at the most critical moment imaginable. That one shot, the now legendary Z shot, did more than just win a tournament, it cemented a legacy. It was the moment Efren "Bata" Reyes went from being a great player to a mythical figure. He had proven that his US Open title was no fluke. He was without a doubt the best player in the world. From there, his conquest of American pool continued. He made Las Vegas his personal playground. In 2005, at the IPT King of the Hill 8-ball shootout at Mandalay Bay, he dismantled American legend Mike Siegel to win a mind-blowing $200,000 prize, one of the biggest in pool history. He would win countless other tournaments in the city, with fans flocking just to get a glimpse of the master at work. His rivalry with Strickland hit another epic peak in their 1997 Color of Money Challenge match. In a grueling, long-format race, Reyes mounted an incredible comeback to win the match and the $100,000 prize. Efren Reyes' impact on Las Vegas, and on pool itself, is immeasurable. He was a trailblazer, introducing a level of creativity and strategic genius that changed how the game was played forever. He inspired a generation of players, not just in the Philippines where he's a national hero, but all over the world. He proved that greatness isn't measured in volume or swagger, but in humility, grace, and a little bit of magic. He showed up in America as an outsider and walked away a king, leaving his mark on the sport he came to define. If you enjoyed this story about a true sporting legend, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell for more dives into the greatest icons in history. And let us know in the comments, what's your favorite Efren Reyes moment? The bright lights of Las Vegas have seen countless champions, but few have ever captured the world's imagination like the quiet man from the Philippines. Efren Reyes didn't just play pool, he revealed its hidden beauty. He showed us that with enough imagination, nothing is impossible. He is, and always will be, the magician.